Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to my thoughts on Unicorn Overlord. Developed by Vanillaware and published by Atlas, this demo review is for the Switch version. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and click that little bell and I'll be sure to bring you more RPG goodness in the future. Thank you. So I know what you're thinking. This isn't Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. No, it's not, and let me tell you why. Because we already know that game is going to be amazing and it doesn't need any more hype, which is why I'd like to focus instead on a very special game that I think deserves more attention, especially if you love Fire Emblem, Battle Ogre, or Final Fantasy XII. And that game is Unicorn Overlord. This toothsome, real-time strategy RPG offers a dazzling, rich array of tactical combat, a generous exploration system, an ensemble of interesting characters who you can bond with via a rapport system, a lovely score, and of course, scrumptious, savory visuals to feast your eyes on. This demo makes a great case for why Vanillaware's latest work is well worth our time. I admit that at first, the story starts off with somewhat of a muted bang. The Queen of Cornea is teetering on the brink of defeat after her trusted general Valmore becomes a turncloak and incites a rebellion in an attempt to revive the old empire. Before the queen heroically makes a last stand against a treacherous warrior, she instructs her most trusted knight Joseph to whisk away her young son Elaine and secretly train him to become a fine soldier so that one day he can reclaim Cornea as its rightful ruler and bring down the evil empire. She then entrusts her young son with a magical unicorn ring, which has the power to dispel evil in the hearts of men. She then dashes off to meet her doom. Fast forward about a decade later, and Joseph has managed to marshal the beginnings of a liberation army for Elaine to command. It will now be up to Elaine to continue recruiting loyal allies as he begins an exalted march of liberation for the entire continent of Fevrith. I admit it's not the most original plot so far, but keep in mind that A, the demo is only a few hours long, and B, the game is taking its narrative cues from Battle Ogre, which is kind of neat. What I really like is that the story doesn't just rely on massive plot points for world building. A lot of the prose will bloom from the budding relationships between over a dozen main characters. The more time these allies spend together on and off the battlefield, the more their bond will grow, the more their bond grows, the more they'll learn about each other, and the more they'll help each other out in battle. Basically, Unicorn Overlord shamelessly cribs from Fire Emblem's support system, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things about Fire Emblem, so I'm definitely cool with this. But in order for characters to establish a rapport with one another, you have to go out and convince characters to join your Freedom Party, and to do that, you need to complete quests. Lots and lots of quests. Main quests, side quests, fetch quests, all of which are strewn about the semi-open world map, which you can explore in almost any order, except you are hemmed in by the occasional collapsed bridge or impassable enemy garrison. Most of these recruitment missions involve liberating places like towns and garrisons. Once you arrive at a destination and help an NPC with a problem, or choose to spare an enemy after battling them on city streets, that unit will usually join your cause. And each unit you recruit offers a unique job class that can be extremely useful in battle. This, for example, is how I was able to recruit the archer Rolf and the healer Sharon. But being a champion of freedom has other perks. Once you liberate a facility, you'll gain access to shops that sell crucial inventory like weapons, armor, accessories, and healing items. On top of that, capturing a fort allows you to hire mercenaries who will bolster your numbers out on the field. I love that the mercenary system allows you to customize your merry band of freedom fighters however you see fit. If you want to hire a bunch of archers and thieves and nothing else, go for it. Although thanks to the rock, paper, scissors mechanic found in Unicorn Overlord, where one type of combat unit is strong or weak against another type of combat unit, which is very much like Fire Emblem's weapons triangle by the way, it's best to diversify your combat portfolio. And it's impressive how much diversity there is. There's at least 80 different vocations, and I already have my favorites, like the thief, whose invasion skill makes him untouchable while drawing enemy fire in the front row, or the archer, one of the few units who can actually hit a thief due to their high accuracy. Oh, and I also love the tanky qualities of the hoplite and the magical abilities of witches and so forth and so on. But one of the most important reasons to unshackle the populace from the iron manacles of the Empire is because it rewards the Liberation Army with honor and renown. Earning honor points by completing missions will not only allow you to hire mercenaries, but can help you unlock additional combat units to deploy on the battlefield. Meanwhile, earning renown will allow you to add more characters to an individual combat unit, making that unit even more powerful. In short, it pays to do as many quests as possible because you'll gain extra allies, better gear, and expand the number of characters and units you can march grimly into battle. Plus, it just feels good to play hero. With that said, let's talk about the awesome tactical combat needed to liberate the people and places of Favrith. So battles take place on the world map during battle stages, where units wage war in real time. Each battle stage has different victory conditions, and you often have a time limit for each battle, so you can't futz around too much deciding on who to bring, what to do, and where to go. You gotta work that out beforehand by going to the main menu system on the world map and choosing which characters will work together as a unit by looking at their complementary vocations, their strengths and weaknesses, whether they're more effective in the front or back row, the benefits they bring if they have a rapport, a unit's overall speed and mobility, which can be fast or slow depending on the makeup of each unit, and even what type of passive leadership boon a character possesses. See, there are already lots of strategies to consider, and we haven't even picked a fight yet. Once battle commences, individual units can be deployed from any base flying a blue flag. These little garrisons are great because they come with perks like HP and stamina recovery that help replenish your units between tough encounters. You definitely want to guard these on and off the battlefield, as well as capture enemy garrisons and watchtowers for similar benefits. Sorry, I know I'm rushing through all of this, there's a lot to get through, and I'm still wrapping my head around all of it. At any rate, the amount of units a player can deploy in battle depends on how many Valor points a player has at the start of battle. These points are replenishable by liberating facilities, defeating enemies, or picking up items while in combat. There's also a limited amount of moves a unit can make before they get tired and have to rest between combat engagements. This stamina number appears above a unit's head, and although stamina can also be replenished, it's not without risk because the unit is pretty much defenseless while standing there. In short, you can't just spam moves and act carelessly on the battlefield. You have to think about the best units to deploy and where to send them and how to carefully manage them. You even have a unit's overall speed to consider, and this is before you actually collide with an enemy unit. Once the action finally starts and you've deployed your units, you can then pause the action to bark orders at your troops. For example, you can have Elaine and his companions rush out to meet the enemy, reshuffle a character's position if you need to adjust your party's formation against a particular enemy unit. You can even use Valor points to have a team member use their Valor skill to preemptively strike at an enemy from afar with arrows or magic, as well as boost ally stats before directly engaging the Imperial army. And again, all this strategy is used before you even engage the enemy. So let's talk about enemy engagement because this is where things get really interesting. All combat situations play out via AI, where the screen transitions from the overworld to an animated fight scene and characters fight according to the amount of action and passive points available to them. Once enemies and allies have used all their points, the round is over, and either one side is dead or temporarily routed. Who's routed depends on who lost more health points in a round of fighting. Here's the amazing thing though, how and when a character uses their active and passive abilities is entirely up to you. That's because Unicorn Overlord has its own Final Fantasy XII-like gambit system, where you can set the variables that determine when an action is used. Every single skill has 2 conditions attached to it, and you can adjust the conditions anytime you want on the overworld map. This offers a dizzying mathematical array of possibilities as to how an individual character, let alone an entire unit, behaves on the battlefield. Combined with all the other tactical elements at your disposal, the amount of victory conditions you can set up for yourself is staggering. It's overwhelming, to be honest, but also super exciting. And once you win, you'll be able to hire more troops, get better allies and gear, and explore more of the map, which is full of hidden treasure and resources. And it's surprisingly big, which is why I appreciate fast travel. Now, although traversing the map is easy, I admit aesthetically it's not all that pleasing. It's overly simplistic, location icons crowd in on each other in places, and I don't understand why your platoon units look so weird. Like, whenever you deploy troops on the map, the leader of your unit is huge, but their allies are tiny. Why is that a thing? But it's serviceable, I guess, as is the user interface, which is fine, although I wish there were more tip tools available because it's easy to miss that you can really drill down and customize a character's looks, skill set, gear, etc., etc. Speaking of visuals, this is Vanillaware, so of course the art design is gorgeous. In fact, the colors and designs themselves feel like dazzling protagonists in the story. It's true that the Switch's meager architecture means Unicorn Overlord can't outboast the sexy style of its older sibling Muramasa the Demon Blade, or the decadent visuals of Odinsphere Leithershire, but it's still very pretty to look at, especially in handheld mode. In dock mode, there's a tiny bit of a fuzziness to it that I don't quite get. Ooh, also the score is beautiful, which is very typical of a Vanillaware game, and the English voice acting is really solid, which I doubly appreciate. In fact, I think a lot of the voices from Fire Emblem Three Houses are featured in this game, which is a huge plus. So in short, the overall presentation is great, and combined with the layers and layers and layers of tactical combat choices to be made, I think Unicorn Overlord has the potential to be something really special. But what do you think? Did you play the demo? Did you like it? Did it convince you to get the full game? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.